And welcome back to a special episode of the Mike Prince Show. I am the radio guy, Dr. Mike Prince, and as you know, it is our mission to try to bring you news that you could use, and today is definitely not an exception to the rule. We are fortunate to have on the line with us right now none other than Interim Athletic Director for the Prairie View A&M University Panthers, John Gardner. How you doing today, sir, and welcome to the show.
Doing great, Mike. It's a great day on the Hill.
It's a great day on the Hill indeed. You're not a novice at Prairie View. For those who might be wondering, who is John Gardner? Can you kind of give us a quick bio of who John Gardner is, sir?
Oh, sure. I'm a two-time graduate of Prairie View A&M University. Graduated in 92, my bachelor's in mathematics, and then 94 with a master's in mathematics. Been working here since 1997. Started off in mathematics department and worked my way up to the assistant vice president for academic engagement and student success, which was my current role before taking on this interim position. And so been on the athletic council for over 22 years. A family man. I'm a religious man, and so I'm all of that. And so I love Prairie View A&M University and bleed purple and gold.
Yes, sir. Bleeding purple and gold is what it's all about, and it's always good to know and how the connections are working. Now, with you being a part of the athletic committee for as long as you have, you, of course, have been on the other end where it's looking for athletic directors and assisting with coaches being assembled together. How did you end up in this role, and were you surprised to be offered about this role?
It was a total shock to me. I was serving as the interim dean of students and providing leadership in that space because Steve Ransom had retired. So the VP of that space asked me to step in to help while I was still doing my AVP duties for student success under academic affairs. And so I was going about that business and just received a phone call from President Root, and it was quite funny, Mike. She asked me, she said, "How's your day going?" I said, "Oh, it's going pretty good, man. I'm enjoying kind of biting my teeth at this new position. Things are going well." And so she said, "Well, let's see how it'll be going after I tell you what I need to ask you." And so it was a shock. She asked me. I thought about it for several seconds, and of course, you can't tell the president no. So she asked me to provide leadership over in this space, and so I accepted the challenge to serve at whatever needs to be done so that we can continue moving Prairie View A&M University in the right direction. So accepted the position, and here I am today.
Okay. Now, with that being the way that the ball bounced in your direction, had this been something ever on your radar at any point with your career at Prairie View?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't on my radar. It was, I've been actively involved in academics, been actively involved in leadership, so leadership management, and so that wasn't really on the radar. But again, I serve more in the leadership role, and so I'm providing leadership in this space, and I'm a quick learner. So I'm willing to serve the institution in whatever capacity is needed in order for us to forge in a positive direction.
Okay, and you speak about being in the leadership role, and we know that the athletic department, or the athletic director, I should have stated, is that role of leadership. And let me just ask this question before we move any further. If the opportunity presented itself, would you consider taking on that position at a full-time rate?
Haven't even thought about it, Mike. It's everything's been moving, pretty fast, and so I haven't even given that much thought. I'm totally committed to providing leadership in this interim time, and so that has not even crossed my mind at this point.
Okay. So something that you have to grow either in or out of as time moves forward.
That's a fair assessment.
Okay, very good. Now, unlike in times past, there's been a plethora of athletic directors, and you being attached to Prairie View, that has been in and out almost like a carousel ride for the past, let's say, 8 years or so. And do you see that as a internal challenge, or is it just finding that right fit to give what Prairie View needs to move forward?
I think it's more about having the right fit. I haven't even done the research yet to see the lifespan of an athletic director, but I know in administration and higher ed, most administrators are around 3.5, 4 years in a position. So that is what I'm accustomed to is things like that. So it just really depends on the situation, depends on the administration. Again, we serve at the pleasure of the president, and follow that vision of the president, and so that's when you're looking at the upper executive positions, that turnover typically happens in most administrations.
Yes, sir, but the average cycle for an athletic director is about 4.5 to 5 years, and of course they'll kind of recycle out. But in Prairie View's cases, it's been the last one of that window was Ashley Robertson, and you had a couple of interims to come in, and of course the latest with Dr. Reed right at going into his 4th year. So it makes it somewhat challenging to establish that necessary rapport with your soldiers, who I'm calling your head coaches, to build consistent winning programs. And coming in right there in a situation like that, it needs, in my opinion, a person of leadership status who is not afraid to make the necessary bold moves it takes to move an entire Division I program forward. Would you think that's a fair assessment?
That's a fair assessment. President Ruth said in her latest comments that, the athletic director, this entire space, the athletic director, it's almost like dealing with a mini university. You have to make tough decisions, and that's why you need, leaders, a leader in this position, to be able to make those tough decisions on who to hire, who to fire, how do you set the strategic plan in place based on the university's strategic plan, how do you, fundraise, and how do you be concerned about the community, the environment, whether it's the alums or the community by which we reside in. I think all of those things, lie within the locus of control of the athletic director.
Yes, sir. And with you being familiar with the grounds of Prairie View, class of '92, working from the academia piece and working hard with the athletic piece, with the needed qualifications, not the feel-good story, not the flavor of the month. What do you feel that Prairie View needs for this role to be filled?
I think leadership is going to be the key. I think you have to have a very strong leader in this position, one who understands organizational structure, one who understands how to ensure that the student athletes are having the experience that is expected, because again, it's really about the student athletes and their experience, along with the coaches and the athletic directors kind of guiding and steering that internal operation and making sure that the internal staff is doing the things that need to be done to support the coaches and the student athletes, while at the same time keeping a pulse of the community and PV Nation, to making sure that experience is meeting their expectations.
No doubt about it. You hit the nail right on the head as far as that is concerned. And when it comes to meeting those expectations, here is my perfect world of what an athletic director should be. The athletic director, in most cases, is the athletic expert to the president. They're sitting on the advisory committee and say, hey, this is what we need, this is how we need to get there, and here's how much it's going to take for us to get there. And you get that assessment after you speak with your soldiers, your head coaches. Hey, what is your want? What is your need? You create a budget of a want, need, and you kind of blend in, because everybody always want what they can't have, but the things you need and some of the wants is the perfect storm. And then you present that, and hopefully the president says, hey, go for it, let's bring home a winner. But not in just Prairie View's case, but in most cases of HBCUs, either the president is not that concerned about the athletics, don't understand athletics, or not willing to put forward the necessary funds of athletics. Have you seen that from your vantage point?
No. What I've seen is a president that's very engaged with athletics. She attends, almost every basketball game, every home football game, and so she is actively engaged with athletics. One of the kind of jokes around with a lot of the administrators is, during the game, President Root doesn't want to talk any business. She only wants to talk sports, and she's in tune to the game. And so that makes it a lot easier for being able to sit in this position and have that honest conversation about athletics and what are the needs of athletics. And so that, and here at Prairie View, I can say under President Ruth Simmons, she's an athletic supporter.
Okay, very good. Now, one of the, I'm going to call it a boss move, if you allow me to identify it that way. You've been in this position not even a month yet, and from my understanding, you can correct me if I'm wrong, you've made a pretty large impact already with the grading requirements for the necessary recruiting of freshmen and transfer students. Can you expound on that, please?
Sure. So we are announced to the coaches and to the staff that we will follow the university admissions guidelines for transfer and incoming freshmen. So as the university makes guidelines, that's what we will follow as an athletic department. And because our athletes are students first, so they're student athletes. And so we just believe that there are resources in place at the institution at this time that will allow us to support students under those admissions requirements, layered with the academic support services that we have within athletics. I believe that we have the resources needed to support all student athletes.
Okay, so for the layman person who's hearing this right now, there was a 3.2, 3.0 threshold that has been dipped slightly, correct?
Yeah, so we are now following the university's admissions guidelines, which, if I'm not mistaken, is 2.0 for transfer students and 2.8 for incoming freshmen.
Okay. Now, did the coaches turn cartwheels when you relayed that message, sir?
Yeah, I think they felt, you know, some type of way once I made the announcement. But you know, again, it's just about providing opportunities for players to come to Prairie View, but it's critical that we have the support systems in place to ensure that we are meeting the academic needs of our students so that they can graduate. The goal is to graduate every student athlete that we bring into Prairie View. That's the expectation. And so working very closely with my director of academics to ensure that we have a robust plan in place to support all athletes to ensure that their academic needs are met.
Yes, sir. And with your academia background, you do have I'm assuming, an understanding of compliance and the things necessary, not only to get the students eligible, but to keep the students eligible for their playing careers.
Oh, sure. Yes. We are all, that was probably one of the first things that I did when I got on the job. I spoke with one of our compliance officers, and which I've already pretty much knew a lot of the rules, just trying to get up to date on some of the changes. And so, but we will, you know, we are developing a plan to ensure that our student athletes are staying on track.
Yes, sir. Now, when it came to you making this announcement, how challenging was it for you to alter the changes of the grade pointing system for Prairie View?
Being an academic person and understanding the direction of the university that we're going academically and the support services, because that's the area that reported to me, the support area, the academic support area for Prairie View A&M University. So I understand the new technologies that we're bringing on board this semester as an institution that will help athletics tremendously. So by understanding the landscape and knowing the resources that we have invested as an institution to support all students, including student athletes, layered with the resources that we have within athletics to support our athletes, it was just the right thing to do.
Okay, very good. Now, we know that you're right in the middle of football season, and you're doing a nationwide search for the next athletic director. But would you agree that any athletic director that would search at this point might not be that ideal fit that you made reference to earlier, because most of the good ones are already accounted for?
I can't speak to that, Mike. That you just never know. You never know what's out there. You just, you know. And so whatever the decision of the university is, you know, I'm in support of it. Okay,
you're in support of it. We're speaking right now with John Gardner, Interim Athletic Director for the Prairie View A&M University Panthers. Right now, football-wise, Panthers are right in the thick of the race, and you've been thrown in at the leadership role of this thing. How exciting is that for you as a PV grad, now leading the charge for athletics? It's homecoming week. You got a lot on your plate right now.
Oh, yes. It's been very exciting. Again, you know, as a leader, you set priorities and you try to, you know, put them at different stages and understand what's needed at the moment, provide leadership for that instant. And so you're talking about, you know, we're in the middle of football season, you know, that was a critical, you know, that's very critical to me, fan experience, you know. So I was, you know, when I first came in, you know, it was interesting because the learning curve was steep and quick, but you want to also make sure that you're able to, you know, what impact can you make quickly to support the experience. It's all about the student experience. It's about the experience of our coaches, the experience of our fans, and the community. And so you always want to say, okay, what can I do to impact that while we still work on other things? And so being in the middle of football season, one of the things I told the staff is one thing that we control is how quickly we get students or fans into the stadium. And so we focus on put together a team and say, okay, let's get this done first. Let's make sure that our fans are getting in quickly. Let's kind of gauge the amount of time that it takes to get them into the stadium, and let's work on, recently we've been working on game day experience. How do we improve that while still working on other matters? So it's exciting times. It's fun, Mike. I'm up for the challenge, and I think the fans can, expect a very exciting and engaging game this weekend.
Okay, it's good that you brought up the game day experience. Must be reading my notes over here, man. That was my next question. You've identified what you see as getting the fans in on in a timely manner on the game day. What other challenges do you see that could help bring about a good experience on game day for the fans?
Well, we are working, met with student engagement and talked about, how do we start to teach our students and our fans, the different chants and how to engage in the game day experience. And so what we've done in the interim, again, these are short-term fixes to until you have time to really plan them out for a full season. But so one thing that we were able to do was we're bringing back the Hollaback event that typically happens the Thursday of every week with students, and you bring them into the stadium, and you have the cheerleaders, you have the band, you're teaching them the chants, you're showing them how to react at certain points in the game. So we're bringing that back. Matter of fact, this week on tonight, we're not going to do it in the stadium because of security reasons, but we're going to do it in the rec center, where we're going to start teaching the students the different chants. And we just come out of COVID, where a lot of these things were not taught, and so we went through several cohorts of students that didn't get a chance to learn all of those chants and everything. So we're going to start with them. I was hoping to have it in the stadium where we can invite some of the alums to come into it as well. So we're focusing in on that, working with the cheerleaders and the band on their coordination of different chants and things, having the cheerleaders to move more into, the fans area to help with that engagement of the game day experience. So we're trying to put several things in place to increase that experience. If any of PV Nation was at our last game, which was in Lamar, you probably had a different feel to that game, where the band and the cheerleaders, they stayed engaged in the game throughout the entire game. And so those are the type of experience that we expect, and now it's just a matter of getting the fans to learn the different chants so that we can have a true home field advantage.
Yes, sir. You were back at Prairie View as, you said, 92 graduate, correct? You knew that there was a definite infused involvement of games. Didn't win a lot, but there was definitely a lot of fan participation and engagement with that. And it's good to hear that you're working on that. If I could, sir, in my suggestion box, and maybe you could have the answer to this, or maybe there's a reason why it had happened. What's wrong with having game apparel available at the games, such as a T-shirt, a pom-pom, a little cheering, little cheering funnels that the cheerleaders use, for participation and fan support into that, and possibly add a little revenue to the athletic department?
You're right. No, those are some things that we're looking at. I was hoping, and because, well, just to let you know, Mike, I had planned on at this game. My goal was to actually give out 4,000 pom-poms. Had already gotten donors who were going to give to purchase 4,000 pom-poms for this game. And when we went to the vendor, the vendor was like, we can't produce it in this short amount of time. And so I'm hoping to still be able to keep those donors on board and still get them, even though they're on back order because of the late date that we asked for them. And so that was the plan. That's going to be the big surprise for this one, was try to give, we were planning on giving them out at every gate. And so I'm still hoping that we can get a few in. We're still waiting to see if the vendor can get it for us.
Okay.
But I agree with you. I think that is definitely needed. It's something that should be expected, something that should be at every home game.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, it sounds like you're off and running, and you're doing this from an interim's position. Now, there's a theory out there, and you're proving it to be an exception to the rule. And that theory is that most interims are there just to kind of guide things along, don't move too fast, because it's not your position for the long term. But if you're going to be in that position, do what's necessary to make sure that the position could be a little bit better for the next person that comes along. Is that safe to assume on that?
Sure. And the things that we're doing now, we're pretty much level setting the organization into a point to where it'd be a solid foundation for the next person. And so the things that are being implemented are basic. To me, these are basic things that would be within any athletic organization.
Okay. And my last question, sir, because I do appreciate you giving us your time, and I know that it's valuable, and that's why we truly appreciate you doing this. The next person that comes in, we know of the leadership requirement that you stated. You mentioned about fundraising. You mentioned about the connecting with the community and the student athlete. What added attribute would be necessary to say this is our person?
I think it has to be someone who is committed to Prairie View A&M University. I think it has to be someone who truly wants to be here, someone who is very passionate about the work that they do, and wanting to see Prairie View Athletic Department to become the model athletic department for others in the nation to come and want to visit us and ask us, how are we doing business? It has to be someone who is very detail-oriented and ensuring that things are getting done and having systems in place and being able to hire good people around them, very smart people around them, experts around them, so that they can then be the face of the organization, and knowing that while they're out being the face of the organization, that the organization is still running smoothly.
Very good, sir. Very good. Mr. John Gardner, Interim Athletic Director for the Prairie View A&M University Panthers. It is homecoming week for PV Nation. And with that being said, sir, I would love to give you an opportunity to have some closing remarks, and the floor is now yours.
Yes, we just want to invite PV Nation out this week for homecoming. As I told my staff, I said, homecoming is like when you're inviting your family to your home. You want to make sure that your home is in order when folks come in. You want to make sure that that the grass is cut. You want to make sure that things are looking white, and you want to make sure the things that you can control, that we do our best job and make sure that our fans and our students have the best experience possible. So I just want to welcome everyone to the Hill for homecoming, and we hope that you enjoy the experience that we will provide within the confines of Panther Stadium.
Thank you very much, sir. Have a fantastic, safe weekend. And I got to ask you this question. Who are you rooting for?
PVU.
He is John Gardner. I am the radio guy, Dr. Mike Prince. Remind you that you can follow me on Twitter at The Mike Prince Show. Subscribe to the YouTube channel at the Open Mic Broadcast Network. And don't forget, we have many options that you can listen to the Mike Prince Show on: Spotify, Spreaker.com. We also have so many of them: Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio Podcasts, and don't forget, it's also on iTunes. That is going to take care of us for today. I want to thank you guys again for joining in with us. Don't forget, we're here each and every day for your listening pleasure. And until the next time, you guys be blessed, and we'll see you on the other side.